Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch a Movie. I am Mike, and today we have the rare Nightmare on Elm Street update. Robert Englund did an interview for his upcoming documentary on Screenbox on June the 6th with Variety, and he said a whole fuck ton of stuff, all of which we will gladly talk about today, as well as an actor who actually came out and said that they would love to play Freddy Krueger, and it'll probably surprise you.
Here comes that white-faced fucker, an asshole like no other. He's a big old piece of shit, wants to stab your sister's tits cause he's a white-faced fucker. Loomis can't recover, Dr. Challenge drunk again, sleeping with your sister's friends.
Do you want to know about the darkness?
I said, goddamn.
Robert Englund's done 1,000 of these interviews, so some of this stuff that's circulated around, you know, it's recycled stuff that he said last year and whatever, and we'll talk about some of that stuff too as well. But he did say some interesting things in here, specifically about the 2010 remake that came out starring Jackie Earle Haley. There's a lot of talk about that movie. It's hated by many, loved by few. And I don't think Jackie Earle Haley was bad as Freddy. I thought the voice was cool. Some of the lines were even cool. When he was like, oh, we got 7 minutes to play. Okay, maybe the voice wasn't that great, but that line was really good. And the main problem with Jackie Earle Haley wasn't Jackie Earle Haley at all, or the 2010 reboot. It was absolutely, in my opinion, in Freddy's look. I thought he looked absolutely atrocious. I thought he looked silly. The CGI, the just awfulness of it is the main problem. But Robert Englund thinks that it was actually something else that put its finger inside of Freddy. He says, Jackie's just so good, a wonderful actor, so I don't think it was that. I've always thought that Freddy is described as a child killer. So when they made Freddy a child molester in the remake, that's not what Freddy is, I don't think. By taking it to such a dark, dark place, there's no room for the personality of Freddy to be exploited. So that's a really interesting thing to say. There's two sides of this, though. I mean, like, on one side, Wes Craven initially intended for him to be a child molester, and they pulled back on it. They didn't necessarily take it away, though. If you look at certain moments in the sequels, it's mentioned, it's hinted at, the way he attacks his victims and things like that. It's always kind of been there, but it's been far more subtle than it was in 2010. So I think in a way he's right, but think about what he's saying. I mean, when he says there's no, by taking it to such a dark, dark place, there's no room for the personality of Freddy to be exploited, which is wild when you think about it, because we're talking about someone who murders children. It just shows how fucked up and piece of dog shit child molesters actually are to people, and rightfully so. He wouldn't have been this horror icon if we made it that dark and twisted. He wouldn't have been on fucking lunchboxes and shit like that, which who knows? Would that have made the franchise scarier? I don't know, John. But there's definitely two sides to that. I mean, would those sequels have been as fun with that time with Freddy and those deep cut sequels when he was doing crazy shit? Would that have been able to work if they really honed in on that aspect of it? Like Jakey says, yeah, because it's not like Freddy killed tons of children and kept the souls of those he killed and tortured them. Yeah, that was too much. And then there's Sean, who says, very true, my family always says that now. Well, Freddy was a child molester, so I don't watch that shit. Refrigerator of Horror here pulls up a great point. The remake had the idea a little bit too straightforward, which didn't appeal to certain fans, but it was implied all over the franchise that Freddy Krueger was in fact a child molester. It's been confirmed in Dream Child 1989 in case the other hints weren't enough, and it's right there. Child molester acquitted, citizens outraged, Krueger freed on technicality, Springwood in shock. So it's all about the subtleties and how you do it. But they did this thing in 2010 where they kind of teased that maybe this guy's innocent, and then all of a sudden they were like, no, fucking child molester. And you're like, oh, that was a turn. But you know, at the end of the day, where I land on it is, I think if you were to reincarnate Freddy and you were to do it again, or even pass the torch or whatever, I think I do agree with Robert Englund in the end. I think they should leave it alone. That's not something we need. I just don't think the franchise needs it at the end of the day, because you have Freddy, who's a child murderer, and that is enough. But that being said, it's also a part of his past. It's Wes Craven's original intention for it, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, you better not. But he has a point. And speaking of which, I'm hoping if Freddy comes back, I don't want us to be in a situation where he comes back for one movie. I would love for them to come back, especially after this long of a wait, and give us a full franchise again. I mean, why not? Look at what Freddy did and how he took over the 80s. I would love to see that happen today and see us get sequel after sequel. I have no qualms with it. I'm a filthy fucking whore for sequels and all they entail, good or bad. And let's be honest, you're not going to shit on the franchise. Freddys Dead already exists. As far as what Robert Englund would do with it, he said that you'd have to deal with technology and culture. He says, for instance, if one of the girls was an influencer, it'd be interesting for Freddy to somehow haunt her subconscious. And why did I say like subconscious? It would be interesting for Freddy to somehow haunt her subconscious and manifest himself, perhaps exploit everybody that followed her. That is, on one hand, when I'm first thinking about it, I'm like, oh, that's just way too. We're in the future now, so let's use influencers. But when he says exploiting her followers to manifest himself, that clicks with me. I'm like, oh, that would actually work for sure. And imagine if he killed somebody while they were on live stream, if they were doing some like stay awake challenge on like TikTok or some shit, or like Twitch or YouTube, and they finally fall asleep and he takes them right there in front of like 1 million people, and their bodies are just flying around on camera and it goes viral, and all of a sudden kids are popping up everywhere. I mean, it gives you all the victims you could possibly imagine or ask for in the entire world. So actually, now that I'm thinking about it, holy shit, Robert. But one thing that you can discount for sure, as he said, and this is what I was saying, he said this a billion times, I don't know why it's still news, but he did say that I'm too old and thick to play Freddy now. What's he mean by thick? You mean with 2 C's, Robert? I just can't do fight scenes for more than one take anymore. I got a bad neck and a bad back.
My back, lick my pussy and my crack.
And arthritis in my right wrist, so I have to hang it up, but I would love to cameo. And that's an interesting thing too, because we talked about him possibly cameo. He could be a different, imagine Robert Englund come back and playing a different type of character, even a Loomis type of character. I know he already did that in Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. He literally played the Ahab. So maybe not that, but something along those lines. I think it would be a really cool thing, and I think it'd be fun for him to do too. Rather than a cameo, I'd rather, if this is going to take on sequels, I would love to see him play an actual character that's like throughout the movie. I think that'd be pretty rad, as well as have Langenkamp or whatever. Just keep Neil away from my fucking movie, you piece of shit. But as far as who he would want to replace him, and also you could do a pass the torch type thing. I don't know how you do it. You could do some sort of a prequel, maybe de-aging and use Robert to do that. I'm not that into that. I'd rather just move forward with it. But there's different ways you could use, hey, we just need you to put on makeup one time for this kind of transference scene where you're going to pass the torch to the new Freddy. I think that would be pretty cool. As far as who he'd like to see play Freddy, he reiterates yet again that he'd like to see Kevin Bacon. He says, I know he respects the genre and he's such a fine physical actor. I think that in the silences and the way Kevin moves, it would be interesting. I totally agree with him on that Kevin Bacon would make a great Freddy Krueger. However, as I said before, I would like to start a new franchise. Kevin Bacon would rule. Kevin Bacon's a fucking amazing actor, and I would love to see him do it. I do wonder about the longevity though. How long is he going to play that role at this point in his career? I'd be more excited to see somebody who could carry it for longer, but it's Kevin fucking Bacon. I saw some interesting posts from you guys on some people you guys would like to see play him. Ewan McGregor, that's a badass choice, I feel like. Also, I saw Matthew Lillard. You know I love that shit. But you know who's vying to play Freddy right now? I wouldn't say vying to play him. It's not like he's out in the streets wearing like a giant billboard like Bruce Willis in Die Hard with a Vengeance. Definitely hope it doesn't say with that said. But no, it's not like he's out in the streets like campaigning for it. But Devin Sawa did tweet that I'd love to follow in his footsteps and play Freddy. He tweeted in response to one of these mini articles, and then when they posted that, he retweeted with the eye emojis or whatever. And I gotta ask you guys, I'm twisted on this. Night of the Twister's twisted, you might say. Devin Sawa as Freddy Krueger, what do you think? I mean, don't think of Freddy Sawa from like Casper days or Night of the Twister or whatever. Not even Idle Hands, but this is like ripped, seasoned fucking Devin Sawa. He stole all our girlfriends' hearts when we were kids, and now look at him today. You son of a bitch. But I think he is an underrated actor. I want to know what you guys think. Would you want to see? I'd love to see him give a go of it. I'm not saying it would be great or be fitting, because it's just, I'm having a hard time totally picturing it and connecting it together. But I do think he's a good actor, and if it worked enough for the studio, I would love to take a gander at what that would be like. So comment down below. What do you guys think? Devin Sawa's Nightmare as a Freddy Krueger? Who would you like to see play Freddy Krueger? If not, thank you all for watching this. I love your all's fucking faces. If you like horror updates like this and you want to follow along with whatever goes on with Nightmare on Elm Street, with Scream, with Halloween, with all of it, be sure to click that subscribe button and that bell, because if we don't, YouTube will hide you. They'll take you, roll you up, stuff you inside their vaginas. Don't let YouTube put us in their vagina.
Halloween never ends, suck my fucking dick, and I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box, or suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not, yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking. Let's all go rent Pumpkinhead on VHS. Cause Halloween never ends.